Join me in a what I eat today while following a perimenopause diet. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Clean Eating Kitchen. I'm Carrie, and this is my channel where I share easy, healthy recipes and tips to help you feel your best. I am about 49 and a half years old. I am definitely experiencing the changes of perimenopause, so I thought today I would share a day of what I eat, and that includes all foods that are gluten-free, dairy-free, relatively unprocessed, and I also try to eat a lot of fiber and high protein. Now I will say that I don't necessarily think that a perimenopause diet has to be super restrictive or anything like that. I personally have to avoid gluten and dairy because I have a lot of food sensitivities, and I find that eating this way helps me manage my autoimmune disease as well. So I've been doing a deep dive for about the last few weeks or so. I will link to this particular doctor that I've been watching all of her videos. Her name is Dr. Felice Gersh. She's a big advocate of hormone replacement therapy, and then she has another name for it, what she calls in perimenopause, because in perimenopause you are still making estrogen, sometimes high amounts of estrogen, but I think as you get further and further into perimenopause, you don't make as much estrogen, and then you start to experience estrogen withdrawal symptoms, which I feel is kind of what I'm dealing with now. So anyways, Dr. Gersh has a bunch of amazing videos. It's all free content, so I will link her channel so you can check it out if you want. But she even talks about changes in the microbiome, changes in blood sugar, why it's so much harder to manage your weight as you get into perimenopause. So I've just been learning so much. So I hope that you seeing the foods that I make and choose to eat in a day might give you some inspiration. And of course, nobody's perfect. I have sugar cravings. I like my chocolate. I like my treats. But you can also make small changes and feel better. So let's jump into starting with breakfast, and I usually wake up very hungry. In fact, sometimes in the middle of the night I get hungry and have to have a snack. Newest addition to my smoothie that I have in the morning is adding ground flax seeds, and flax seeds are considered to be one of those foods that are high in phytoestrogens and can help, I guess, increase estrogen when you're low in estrogen, and then even help flush out excess estrogen if you're having high levels of estrogen. Heard that it's important to blend or grind the flax seeds because they can be hard for your body to digest. So I just do that in my high-speed blender. I put about, I don't know, a cup maybe of dry flax seeds into my container, and then just turn it up to high for maybe 15-20 seconds. And then I store the ground flax seeds in a little container in the refrigerator, and that lasts me a couple weeks. I add a tablespoon or two into my smoothie. You do want to be a little bit careful because they're very high in fiber. It can take a little while for your body, your digestive system, to get used to that amount of fiber. Another thing that I'm doing differently is I'm adding in an additional source of protein while I'm having my green smoothie. I never used to do that in the past, and I got these sausages, I think maybe you saw in my last video, which was a Costco haul. I got some pre-cooked chicken sausages, and I've been having one or two of those with my green smoothie to help increase my overall protein intake in the morning. And then another change that I've made, I'm taking a break from coffee right now. I don't know if you know this, but heart palpitations are a very common symptom of perimenopause. So if you get them, like I did starting a few months ago, I was really freaking out thinking that something was wrong with my heart. And then I learned that it's a common symptom as your estrogen starts to drop. That was another thing I learned from Dr. Gersh. I think she has a whole video on that. But so I'm taking a break from coffee, even decaf coffee, just to see if even that small amount of caffeine was furthering or exacerbating those heart palpitations. So I'm using an herbal coffee, plus I use a scoop of collagen, and I have that after my smoothie with the sausages. So that brings my total breakfast protein probably to 35 to 40 grams, which is a lot more than I used to have. I used to have probably 20 grams. As you guys know, I've mentioned before, it's really hard when you can't eat dairy to get a lot of protein overall in your whole diet. And so I'm just trying to find creative ways to add protein to get my overall protein total close to 100 grams. I probably don't reach that in a day. I get closer to 75 to 80 grams. And the reason that protein is important is because it does help with blood sugar regulation. Another thing I learned from Dr. Gersh is that estrogen helps blood sugar management. So if you're having lower estrogen in perimenopause or menopause, that can even start to mess with your blood sugar. It is so amazing to me how important estrogen is to all parts of our bodies. And so it really makes sense if you're inclined, or if you think you need estrogen support, then to find a doctor who's going to help you with that. So usually for lunch, I will make a big salad. I try to use all kinds of seasonal vegetables. Now we're, I would say, in the heart of summer, there's just so many nice vegetables and lettuces and fresh fruits to add into a salad. And then I always include a lean protein with that as well. And I like to have a little side of some avocado potato chips. It's just kind of a treat that I enjoy. And then usually for dessert after lunch, I will have some tea. In this case, I used a blend of peppermint and nettles because I was having some seasonal allergies. I really feel like the nettle tea helps. And then the peppermint tea is just nice for digestion and flavor. And then I'll usually have some pieces of dark chocolate, maybe some Simple Mills almond flour cookies, or I also really like the Siete brand of cookies. They have these like wedding cookies that are really good, and they're grain-free. Another thing you might have heard me mention in my last videos, I'm doing kind of a 2-week paleo challenge with my husband because he had some elevated inflammation markers, cardiovascular inflammation markers, and so our doctor wanted him to do like more of a strict paleo diet just for 2 weeks to see if those markers would come down. So we're doing the best we can. Again, we're not perfect. For snack, I usually am hungry, especially if I work out in the morning. So I've been having bone broth and then some fresh fruit. In this case, I had some of those yummy cotton candy grapes that I got at Costco. And then another thing I'm trying to have on hand just to sip throughout the day to keep hydrated is I'm still kind of getting used to my new juicer, but I made a celery juice blend of celery, apple, and lime, and it was very, very tasty. Potassium is a nutrient that we all need, and it's great for helping keep electrolytes up, especially when it's hot outside. And then I went ahead and got started on dinner, and we've been having some kind of warmer days and then cooler days. It's been alternating back and forth, which is kind of unusual for us at the beach. Usually it's quite cool almost into mid-July, but we've been having a few hot days here and there. So I thought potato salad would be a really nice dish to have with dinner because it's cold and refreshing. And so what I like to do is to cook my potatoes in the Instant Pot. It just makes it so much easier than cooking them over the stove, in my opinion. So I cook them for 22 minutes. I rinse them, and then I add them to a bowl of chopped onion, olives, relish, mayonnaise, and mustard. And then I put the whole thing into the refrigerator because I personally don't enjoy warm potato salad. I think it should be chilled. And so I have to do this process. Of course, if you're going to do it this way, you have to do it a few hours in advance. So then it's completely chilled by the time you want to eat it. And I will put my recipe in the description box for that. And then to go along with the potato salad, I just kept it really simple and cooked up some ground bison with some onions, some mushrooms, another zucchini that my neighbor gave me, and then some spices just some dried herbs. And I just wanted to remind you just that dried herbs and fresh herbs for that matter can be a really great source of antioxidants. So don't forget to just add fresh spices and herbs when you can, or don't forget to add herbs and spices when you can, just to add more nutrition to your diet. It's just an easy thing to do. And of course, it adds more flavor. And then when it came time for dinner, I just had that bison with the potato salad. I've been enjoying some pickled foods lately, in particular some pickled banana peppers, really tasty, some cranberry relish. And since we're right around the 4th of July holiday, I went ahead and made some gluten-free strawberry shortcakes, which is Alan's favorite dessert for this summer. I think I'm going to try to make it a yearly tradition because he loves it so much. And I had the strawberries that I got from Costco, turned out to be delicious strawberries. I was really happy about that. So what I did first was make the shortcakes, and I can link to the recipe. I would say it wasn't my recipe, it was one that I found online. They turned out okay. They were a little dense. They weren't a dairy-free recipe, so I just swapped out for coconut milk for the heavy cream, and they turned out okay. I grew up eating strawberry shortcake with those Sara Lee sponge cakes, which I'm sure are full of preservatives and obviously aren't gluten-free. And Ellen grew up eating strawberry shortcakes made with Bisquick that his mom made, and so I made more of the homemade biscuit type of shortcake, and he really liked them. And then I took the strawberries, I just chopped them up small. I added the juice of 1 lemon, and then I added coconut sugar, and I also used coconut sugar in the shortcakes. I just always use that instead of cane sugar. It's what I have on hand. And then I tried to kind of mash up the strawberries, and then the juices will kind of start to naturally come out if you let them sit in a bowl in the refrigerator for a few hours. And then I just served the strawberry shortcakes with the strawberries, some coconut whip, and then some blueberries to make it red, white, and blue, which I thought was really cute. So this was a pretty typical what I eat in a day during my perimenopause years, and following a loose paleo diet that is gluten-free, grain-free, dairy-free, processed food-free, with a focus on seasonal foods. I don't necessarily keep track of my calories or my protein, things like that, on a daily basis. I try to just keep the meals balanced, and so then by the time I reach the end of the day, I know I've reached probably a good amount of protein. Again, I'm shooting for about 25 grams at each meal, and then maybe adding in an extra 10 grams from bone broth as a snack. Now that would put me at 85 grams. So that would be my goal, but you know, every day is different. My appetite definitely changes based on how much I've exercised, even from the day before. I'm going to go ahead and link to another what I ate in a day, which was when I was really focused on gut healing, and you can watch that video next, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.